I've been better through time of delegating too.
How's the chemistry developing with the new and the old players?
It's developing. I mean, it's the senior guys have been. You know what? I said this. Joe Jackson, beginning of the year, I told him in the summer. Joe's not a talker, and I said, hey guys, we just got to deal with it. He's just not going to talk. And I went to bed that night disgusted at myself. I said, how could I? What am I doing? I mean, how can I let Joe just do that? I woke up the next morning. I met our staff, and I told Joe. I said, I was wrong yesterday. I said I was totally wrong. What I did by just saying, you know what, you're never going to change. You're just going to not be a talker. I said that's doing you a disservice. And so I was mad at myself. And the next morning I said, I'm going to hold you accountable for talking. You have to communicate. And I'll tell you what, since that point, Joe has been really good communicating. He's been as talkative as he's been, and the number one thing that he'll tell you is because he's had free of clutter. And I love for when he gets here, you talk to him, he'll tell you how cluttered his mind was his first 2 years. And he listened to everyone in the streets. Every time he went to a barber shop, everyone was telling him all negative. And he was listening to negative and not listening to positive. And he said it infiltrated his mind, and it struggled so much. So, he was, you're either going to listen to the positive dog or the negative dog. And he was listening to the negative dog all the time, and all that stuff in his mind, and it just infiltrated his mind. So Joe's been talking. Michael Dixon has been really good, and I tell you who's a different person right now is Shaq Goodwin. He's different in an unbelievable way. I mean, his conditioning right now is superior. So I'm anxious to see Shaq.
And most of his conditioning was done away from here, right?
No, I mean he did when he got here. I mean he had a great July. And he told me, he said he did it his way last year is what Shaq told me. And he told the team this. He said, and his way doesn't work. He said, Coach, you got me 100%. I'm going to do whatever you say. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to be upset if we got to do extra. I want to do whatever you say. I'm going to do, and he's done that. He's been unreal. He's been unreal, and I'm really excited for Shaq. Really excited.
Did not making the national team.
He didn't make the national team because Billy Donovan, Shaka Smart, and Mark Few thought the year before they thought he wasn't serious enough, and because of the competition was stepped up. I mean, they felt he was good enough. They just felt that he wasn't. They were concerned based on his focus the year before he got here. He was in that thing in the summer. They thought he clowned around too much. Didn't take it seriously, and they were concerned about bringing him into that with increased competition. Would he have been serious enough? And obviously they had 2 days or 3 days with him, so they didn't know the Shaq that. So I just think it was. And Shaq's not the same person as he was.
Well, is that what prompted the change? That's what I'm
I don't know. I think Shaq that's something I would probably ask Shaq when he gets here. I've never really asked him, but he's a different human being. He's a totally different guy.
Josh, I know this is about looking forward, but one question about looking back. Did Adonis make a mistake? Because if he was on this team, obviously he would bring, but he's not. And as his coach now, you've seen how this has all worked out since he decided to turn pro. Just your thoughts of knowing the situation. Did he make a mistake?
I love Adonis, and I believe he's going to make it. Hey, it's going to be a little tougher road than he expected, but he's going to make it. And for Adonis and for anyone, I mean, the NBA is just hard. I mean, it's nothing to be upset about. It's a hard league to make. I mean, there's only 150 roster spots in the world to have a shot at. So he's going to make it. I believe in him. He's going to have to get it through go through the hard way, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's been so many success stories like that. So I believe through Adonis's hard work and determination and his focus, he's going to make a team. He's going to be fine. And no matter what happens currently or just this, today, in the future, he's going to make the NBA, and he's going to play in there, and he's going to have a long career. I really believe that. So he's going to get on the wall. It's in very short time. I truly believe he will be on the wall. So and he did everything right. He's on track to graduate. If he had stayed, he would have graduated in 3 years. So he's in great shape academically if he decides he wants to one day, finish his degree, which I believe he will.
There's been a lot of talk, particularly in college football, about compensating student athletes. Is it time for the NCAA to start those discussions? Or should it...
No, I don't think you should pay the student athletes. I don't think that's the best. But I think they want to do this. The NCAA, unfortunately, a lot of people get on them all the time, but they want to open up and deregulate and say, there's different ways you can do things. Like in the summer, they might say, hey man, if you just want to go, feed the guys 3 times a day, because right now we can't feed the guys during the summer, only under certain rules and like consider certain things. So they might just say, hey, feed the guys, or maybe they say you're allowed to fly the kid in on to start the school year, to when for summer sessions or whatever. There's different avenues you can do without single-handedly giving someone extra cash, which would take the burden off on a lot of some of the pressure the student athletes feel, and so I think there's other ways than actually just giving them certain money. And I understand the dynamics of it all because of Title IX, and you have the equality. You've got to have everything. It's not just football. Everyone talks about football and basketball. I mean, you've got softball, you've got baseball, you've got tennis, men's and women. I mean, track and field. I mean, there's so many different sports that has to be accounted for. So that's why the different sports leagues, the professional leagues, they don't have to worry about that stuff because that's all they got to focus on. And in college athletics, which it should be. I mean, everyone needs an opportunity. I mean, non-revenue sports, women's sports, Olympic sports, everyone, those opportunities are critical, are so important. So the dynamics of it isn't always as easy as people make it to be, because the athletic department, the president and the athletic director is responsible for all the sports. So it's not as easy as people make it out to be.
Couple more questions.
Rebounding was the big hole this year. Who are you going to look for this year to help, fill that void from last year?
We have to be great rebounders, and we've done that every day in practice, been focused on rebounding. And I've had Coach Kirby do that every day on rebounding. We have to be a better rebounding team. We were much better, but we didn't do a good job versus Michigan State. So now, we didn't get credit for rebounds on shot blocks either. We have been a great shot blocking team through my time here, but we don't get credit for that on the rebounds. So, but we were a way better rebounding team last year than we have been in the past under me. But we didn't obviously do a good job in the glass versus Michigan State. But part of that, you can't score 49 points and want to win the game. We got to manufacture points. You got to be able to manufacture points.
You talked about conditioning. What are you doing differently to prepare you for the early season?
We're running a lot right now in preseason. So when 40 minutes is done with basketball, we're going straight into conditioning. Just running. We'll do all kinds of different running, and we're kind of a defensive boot camp right now, but just all kinds of conditioning, and just to kind of wear them out. And because October 3rd next week, we're going to be able to practice 2.5 hours. And if we're going to press and get after it, we're going to have to be able to play that type of condition. So we're going to get after. In fact, Vance Wahlberg was here last week. He was actually with Scott Robinson, Coach Robinson at Victory University. He was over there for the whole week, and I had spent a lot of time with him, and I spent some other time. I've been talking a lot with Vance, been talking a lot with Shaka, and some other guys just on press and stuff like that, to making sure that, to have, again, in the end, we got to put our own philosophy and our own belief in, but getting things from different people, different programs, different ideas, and then bring it to what we feel is best for our personnel.
You've kind of hinted at it a couple times now. How much do you intend to press? I get that question a billion times. I'm sure you get it everywhere you go.
Everywhere I go in the city, it's all everyone wants to know. And I tell people we do press. We do press.
They want to know, are you going to press more?
Yeah, I tell people we press. I mean, we do press. It's just the thing that I've done the first day of summer workouts, when we went 5-on-5, and we did a lot more 5-on-5, is when the ball went in the hoop, we picked up full court immediately. I think the biggest key for pressing is the conversion, to be able, instead of going back in transition defense, is picking right up. And that's been the number one thing that we've done all summer long, is laying the foundation. The ball's in the hoop, they know they're up. And every time we weren't up, we stopped practice and ran. And that's been the number one thing, Matt, that we did all summer long to help us lay the foundation that we are going to pick up full court. Doesn't mean it has to be, Matt, a trap every time either, you know, but you've got to be picking up 94 feet. We got to be able to attack offensively and attack defensively. I mean, that's our personnel this year. You've got to be able to do that.
People think of Nolan Richardson in 40 Minutes of Hell and Rick Pitino, who used to foul on every trap. Can you, by the way the officiating is going to go, can you still be that aggressive with press?
You know, I don't know. I mean, you got to defend without fouling. Fouling, you know, just is not smart. We don't need a foul. I mean, there's going to be some contact, but you can't foul. But on the other hand, it's good for us with our personnel. We need to be able to get to the paint and get to the free throw line. I mean, Jaron's over there, and Jaron knows this. Is Jaron right there, Lamar? Yes. Jaron, come here. You know, Jaron knows this. And he'll tell you, he has to get to the free throw line. I mean, 50-50 balls, but he's got to get to the free throw line. It's very, very important. And so not only is it important for us defensively not to foul, but offensively, Dave, with the new rules, we have got to get to the paint. We need to be getting to the free throw line. And that is a critical aspect. But we'll see. I mean, you know, that might be a question where you have Curtis on your show, and I think that's what you should do.
All right.
Ask him that.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
We'll break up.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.